Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm excited because we've got a gentleman that's going to be chatting with us about the Olympics. Now, we haven't talked a lot about the Olympics for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't even know what we can say and what we can't say because the word Olympics is trademarked.
Whatever. You can
I know,
say
but
whatever you want to say.
Because we're not doing it like in a promotion. We're just talking about the fact that they're getting started. But there's like all this gray area that I don't understand. But we've got a guy that's going to be chatting with us today. And he's with a company that's actually, they do like statistics and they predict all kinds of stuff. And it's really kind of cool. I was kind of looking at some of the stuff that they do. And I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun to chat with him because the guy's name is Simon Gleave with Gracenote Sports. And they have predictions on the summer games based on like 100 and some years of history. So we'll be chatting with Simon coming up here later in the program. Also, let's turn our attention to this. This is something I do understand a little bit more. A trend among campgrounds across the country. Many of them now offer high-speed wireless internet.
Yeah, just what you need when you go camping.
They can't get people to camp there without high-speed wireless internet. Remember when I was a kid, we'd sit around the glow of the campfire. Now they all sit around the glow of their smartphones. Can I have another one of those s'mores?
I don't go camping. I am not a person who has any interest in sleeping on the dirt, and
No.
I have no interest
Not
at
my thing.
all. But
I used to go all the time. I loved it.
if that is something you're interested in, the whole experience of camping is to
Yeah.
get closer to nature and get away from technology.
There you
So
go.
I don't understand that
No,
whole
it's a big deal
concept.
these days. Coming up, we got some special stuff to talk about. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, August the 5th. It's National Oyster Day. I have never even had a single oyster.
Me either.
I have no interest in trying them.
Me either.
I was at a place where they were serving oysters. Like, oh, you should try this. And it was all slimy and gross looking. I'm like,
Yeah, no thanks.
I'd rather not. That doesn't look good to me. Today is also National Underwear Day. We've got a story coming up
I
later.
celebrate that every day.
I do too. We've got a
actually.
story today that's going to be very much celebrating National Underwear Day, so I can't wait to get to that. We have Brahm Pie Day, also known as Homemade Pie Day. It is International Beer Day. You also celebrate that every day.
Not every day.
A lot of days. Tomboy Tools Day today, and it's Twins Day. So if you happen to have a twin, today is the day to celebrate. When I was a kid, I always thought it'd be cool to have a twin.
Me too.
And then I've talked to people that have twins, and they're like, it's not as cool as you think. I'm like, okay, well, I always thought it'd be kind of cool. Coming up, we've got some fun things to chat about on this Friday. The Olympics get started later today. They're going to do like the official kickoff. And we've got a gentleman chatting with us about the Olympics later in the program. Thanks for listening.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time too. You decide when messages are sent and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Michael McCormick of Traverse, Florida, was fined $180 for saving 5 people's lives.
Okay, why
Doesn't
is
seem
this?
right. Because he lassoed an alligator. He was cruising along down the road, and he saw an alligator crossing the road toward a woman holding 2 babies with 2 little children at her side. Well, he pulled over, got out his rope, and lassoed the alligator, dragged him off the road to safety, kept him corralled until the police arrived, and then set the alligator free unharmed. You'd think brush off the old hands and say, hero.
Yeah.
No, that's not what happened. Police reported Mr. McCormick to the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. They fined him for, quote, being in possession of an alligator, end quote.
Being in possession? It's
Yeah,
not
'cause
like
he
he took it home.
He detained it and held it there for a while. They said that he should have concentrated on helping the women and children by removing them instead of holding the alligator. McCormick has not decided whether he's going to fight the ticket.
I would fight it.
But he said, here's the thing I will say. I would do the same thing over again. If it happened again today, I would save those people. If I get a fine, I get a fine. If he gets a fine, he's got a $180 fine so far. I think people should kick in the money and pay that. I'd pay towards that. There should be a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or whatever those things are where people chip in, because that's ridiculous. This guy saved this woman and children. They saved their lives. And the way he's repaid is by getting a fine. I understand what they're saying as well. We don't want to encourage people to tie up an alligator and hold him. No, that's not what you're encouraging.
Well, I do. There's no reason that once he got it to the side of the road that he couldn't have let it go.
He waited until the police
But why?
officers were there because he wanted to make sure he explained what was going on and make sure, should I let him go here or what do I do? Do we let him go now or do we take him somewhere else? He was in an area where there were a lot of people. You'd think I don't know. I just think that he did the right thing, and that seems really weird to
And
me.
alligators are pretty slow on land, aren't they?
No.
Couldn't she have gotten away?
No, those little buggers can go. If
Really? I
if
thought they were
coming-
pretty slow on
No.
land.
They have short little
Got
legs.
tiny little legs.
Yeah, but I've seen them go. I've seen them booking. So you wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want
When
to.
have you seen an alligator?
I've outrun alligators all the time. You should see what happens in my dreams. All right, coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. We've talked about this kind of thing happening before, but it happened again. Believe it or not, second story this morning from Florida.
Okay.
A man was recently cited for driving under the influence. However, this time it was not in his car, although he'd had those before too. This one was on his lawnmower. 38-year-old Ronald Biggs was cruising his brand new 14-horsepower Cub Cadet lawnmower. Driving down the road, he had had too much to drink, crashed into a parked vehicle, a Mitsubishi Eclipse. So he was charged as a motorist, cited for hit and run, cited for drunk driving, cited for driving without a license because he had lost that for drinking and driving before, improper registration, no insurance, and failure to maintain control. He's looking for leniency, though, because he said, hey, as I was driving, I mowed the weeds on the side of the road.
Now, most of those charges I agree with, but I don't believe you need a license to drive a riding lawnmower.
No, but he was driving on the roadway.
I don't believe
with
you need a
with-
registration and proof of insurance
if you're
to
driving
drive
a,
a
vehicle,
riding lawnmower.
If you're driving a vehicle on a public roadway, you need all of those things. Whatever it is. You could build
Well, he
it
should
in
have
your
just been
garage.
fined for having that vehicle on the
Yeah,
road
but
because
that's what
you don't
those
have a
fines-
registration. If you went to the DMV and said, I need a registration for my riding lawnmower, they would be like, what?
I've seen vehicles that don't typically have license plates have them because they drive them on roadways. So it's a
I don't
possible
know.
thing. All right, that's what happens, kids, when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Our moment of duh is kind of two moments of duh because I think these kind of this first one's gonna be kind of quick. Detroit police arrested 5 suspects in connection with a robbery of a McDonald's. They wore bandanas over their faces. They were pretty organized. However, once they got in the car, one of the suspects threw his bandana out. It got hooked on the antenna of the car.
Okay.
It made it really easy for
Really
the cops
easy to find
it.
them.
They're like, they were driving this car and they were wearing bandanas, and they're like, oh, there's a car just like it, and it's got a bandana waving from the flagpole of the antenna. And then there's another person who was not all that smart during her burglary, and this one was not at a McDonald's, but it was Elizabeth McDonald, her last name. See, that's why I thought they were kind of tied together.
I see.
She thought her crime was pretty darn good. 24-year-old Elizabeth McDonald robbed a VFW hall in Ohio. She used to work there. She wore a mask during the holdup, but she was immediately recognized by coworkers because she had waist-length red hair. Very few people have
Right.
that. So that she comes in, the same body shape as her and waist-length red hair hanging down behind the little mask,
Right.
and they're like, Elizabeth? Oh, maybe you should have tucked that in, Elizabeth. Just saying. We've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. I got to ask this, Heidi. Well, first of all, let's talk about this. Some countries heading to the Olympics have never won an Olympic medal. 75 countries have never won a single Olympic medal. That's more than a third of the countries taking part in this year's Rio Olympic Games. We're going to be chatting with a man about the Olympics here in just a moment. Going to be talking with Simon Gleave with Gracenote Sports coming up in a bit about some predictions for the Olympics. They do all the statistics and all of that. So, but 75 countries have never won a single medal. At a certain point, wouldn't you just say, why are we paying all this money to send them there? I mean, they're never going to win.
That's not true.
It's been going on a long time.
They could win eventually.
Okay, I wish them the best, and I hope this is their year. Now, moving on to something else. Millennials. There's a new study that says millennials are having less nookie than their baby boomer parents and grandparents did when they were their age. But here's why that is. Because they're dinking around playing Pokemon Go.
Because they don't meet people. They don't talk to people.
Video games and all that stuff. They're never out and about. I mean, that's not going to happen sitting at home on your sofa. It's
That's
just
exactly
not.
Right.
Speaking of the younger generation, kids' fitness levels are wiped out by their laziness over summer vacation. If your kids are active during the summer, they're the minority. New research from UK Active shows that children today are far less active during the summer break than they are during the school year, with any fitness gains achieved during school completely wiped out over the summer.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about how much our daughter has been watching television this summer.
Yep,
and maybe
messing around on her technology. And I agree.
Take a listen to this. This happened in England. A woman broke up with her fiancé, and guess who she ended up getting with instead?
Who?
The wedding planner.
Oh, wow.
You won't help me plan this wedding. Come on. We hired a wedding planner. You guys work on that. Wow. So, yeah, maybe you should be a little more involved out there, fiancés. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, and the average American eats 19,000 calories worth of ice cream a year.
Not me.
It's about 6 gallons. I had some ice cream last night, but it wasn't a whole lot. Favorite summer treat, of course, our favorite flavors are still, which ones do you think are the
Chocolate
two top?
and vanilla.
Yeah, top 2. But they are also the most readily available, so that's not very fair.
Bubblegum is so underrated.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Don't get me started on this bubblegum crap. She ordered
I love bubblegum.
Did you have to buy that somewhere special, or where'd you get it?
No, I found it at
a store.
Just a store.
Okay. Well, she found some bubblegum flavored gum, ice cream with no gum in it, because she said, that'd be a great idea. And 5 years later, we still have it. But
I don't eat it I don't eat ice cream very often.
Chip all the ice crystals off to get to the ice cream. Hey, the latest...
It was good. It is good.
It's
I just
terrible.
don't eat it very often.
It's going to be gone one of these days because I'm going to throw it away. It's disgusting. Latest figures show that injuries at trampoline parks have grown over the last 5 years.
Trampoline parks?
Yeah, where they have like the indoor trampoline parks, and they even have some outdoor ones. There were 581 injuries 5 years ago. Guess how many there were this last year?
I have no idea.
6,932. That's a lot of injuries.
That is a lot of injuries.
So a man can jump out of an airplane at 25,000 feet with no parachute and land safely on some Wile E. Coyote net that they set up. But you send 15 kids to a trampoline park, and you better have the paramedics standing by, because that's what's going on here. I have no clue what the heck is happening. And since today happens to be National Underwear Day, this story I've been saving for a couple days because I had to use it today. Police in the United Kingdom arrested a man who robbed a candy store. For disguise, he was wearing underwear on his head.
Okay.
He took several $100s in cash and 8 pounds of fudge. There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. I'll let you guys work on that. We've got a special guest. We're going to be chatting about the Olympics coming up. Thanks for listening.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Team USA is already in Rio. We've got the Summer Olympics, and they kick off today. And we're going to be chatting about some insights for the Summer Olympics with Simon Gleave with Gracenote Sports. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
We're doing fantastic here, and I know this is a big day for you guys as things get underway for Rio and the Olympics for 2016. Today's the big day.
That's correct, yep.
So at Gracenote Sports, you guys have a way to predict who's going to do well and who's not going to do well. What are some of the things people are talking about right now, and which areas of the Olympics are people the most excited about? And how do you do these predictions?
Well, I think, yes, we have a virtual medal table, which is a prediction of what's going to happen at this year's Olympic Games based on data of what different athletes, etc., have done over the last 4 years leading up to these Olympics. So we can provide you with some information about what's going to happen in terms of who's going to win medals, which countries are going to win the most medals, which participants are going to win the most medals, etc.
Now, I'm reading about this virtual medal table, and I see, Simon, you are the head of analysis there at Gracenote Sports, and it says here that you guys have put in more than 100 years worth of Olympic data to make this thing work. Is it pretty darn accurate when you guys utilize that kind of info?
Yes, we've done this once before for the London Games, and we had, if we just look at the 15 countries who won 18 medals or more in London, so the sort of bigger countries, we predicted 12 of those 15 within 4 medals of their actual total at the Games, which I'm fairly happy with. But even since then, we've had to. We've tried to improve things. We want to make things better. We want to make things more accurate. So hopefully we'll do better this time around. That's the plan.
I think that's really cool. Now, I'm going to start my cheer already. USA! USA! I'm going to cheer for them no matter what you say, even if you say they're not going to do well. But how does Team USA look? Does it look like we're going to do okay this year, Simon?
Absolutely, absolutely. We expect the United States to top the podium for the 6th Summer Games in a row. We're expecting 89 medals for the US competitors with 37 gold. But what's interesting with the US, there's usually a battle between the US and China, of course, for who's going to top the medal table. And what you'll find this time, we think, is that in the early days of the Olympic Games, China will top that medal table. But you'll find that as time goes on and as events happen which are stronger for the United States, then the US should overtake China. So in those early days, you'll see China at the top of the medal table, and you'll think back to me saying the US are going to top the medal table. What is China doing there? And you'll find that this will eventually come good, and the US should finish out on top.
All right, Simon, you mentioned Team USA, you mentioned Team China. Who are some of the other countries that we should be paying attention to as we get things started with the Olympics?
Due to what's going on with Russia are expected not to perform as well as they have done previously. Russia would normally be in the top 3 of the Olympic table, of course, but because of the ban on their track and field team that has come into play, and because of the ban on their track and field team, we're expecting them to do a lot worse, and that means that 3rd place is probably up for grabs at this game. So Great Britain or Germany could well take 3rd place instead of Russia, and it's perhaps even possible that France or Australia may take that 3rd place this time around. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with all the stories around Russia.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now, we've talked about teams. We've talked about Team USA and Team China and Team Russia. Let's talk about some of the actual people, like Michael Phelps on Team USA. He's been there before. Are we expecting big things from Michael Phelps in Rio this year?
Absolutely. Perhaps not as well as in the past. He's now expected to pick up 4 gold medals, which would still be incredibly impressive. That depends to a certain extent on the relay teams, of course, and not so much on his individual performances. Also a bronze we're expecting as well. So we expect him to pick up 5 medals, making him certainly one of the stars of this Olympics, just as he has been at the previous ones. In addition to him, from a US perspective, I'd certainly name the gymnast Simone Biles. We're expecting her to pick up 4 gold medals, which no female gymnast has done since 1984. No female gymnast from any country has done that since 84. And the swimmer Katie Ledecky, who we have currently on 3 gold medals and a silver. interesting, and another interesting point with Ledecky is she's entered in the 200, 400, and 800 freestyle, all of which she could well win. If she does win all three, then she'll be only the second person to do that after America's Debbie Meyer in 1968 in Mexico City.
Wow!
So those are the breakout performances I'd expect.
Again, things are getting underway in Rio today for the opening ceremony. This weekend going to be very busy. Of course, next week going to be extremely busy. So Simon Gleave is who we're talking to today with Gracenote Sports. Where can I find your virtual medal table? How can I follow along with Gracenote Sports coverage of Rio for 2016?
Well, there are two places. You can follow us on Twitter. Gracenote Gold is our Twitter address, and there'll be links provided to our virtual medal table, and also little facts and figures about the games as we go through. And we, of course, have a website. That's www.gracenote.com/sports.
Well, Simon, I know you guys are busy right now getting ready for the next couple weeks, which are going to be really busy for you. So I certainly appreciate you taking some time to chat with us. Again, we've had Simon Gleave with Gracenote Sports. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much.
Again, Simon is with Gracenote Sports, and the Twitter handle, for those of you who are on Twitter and maybe want to follow along there, is Gracenote Gold. And again, their website, gracenote.com/sports. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In the military, when soldiers refer to a click, they're talking about a distance of measurement.
I know that.
That is 0.62 miles, or about 1 kilometer. That's how far a click is. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Ancient Chinese artists would never paint pictures of women's feet.
Oh.
Don't know why, but they wouldn't paint them. Maybe it was too hard to get the little piggly wigglies on there. I don't know. Somehow. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Empire State Building sways in the wind. During severe windstorms and rainstorms, the Empire State Building may sway several feet from side to side. But it was built to do that. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Speaking of buildings, the estimated weight of the Great Pyramid of Egypt is 6,648,000 tons. Although it's really hard to know that because we don't have a scale heavy enough to weigh it. And if we did, once you set it on there, you wouldn't be able to see the numbers. So, because of the shape of it.
I want a pyramid.
I know you do. There's a video of you explaining that to me. She had a whole bottle of wine and then explained why she wanted a pyramid, and it was so funny. Yeah.
We should post that.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Email marketing is affordable and a proven way to grow your business. If it's done right, you can stay in contact with your customers to let them know when you have new things to offer. You stay in control the whole time, too. You decide when the messages are sent, and you decide what is being said. So you're constantly in control of your business image. You can do this, but don't try it on your own. Team up with one of the biggest names in email marketing, Constant Contact. Sign up for a free trial right now at radiosavings.com. Sign up now at radiosavings.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. It is a Friday, and I've got 3 stories in a row that I believe are all connected. When we're done, you tell me if you think these are connected. Bad posture may make your neck creak and your shoulders ache, but recent research shows that your slouch might make you a grouch. A recent study from San Francisco State University said slouchers reportedly increase feelings of depression and lower energy. So they say if you're slouching, I noticed you just sat up over there, by the way. You didn't think I noticed that while I was reading?
Well, my neck has been bothering me all morning, so I've been doing that all day.
So, well, here's the thing. So that's the first one. Slouchers are grouchers. So that's our first story. Second one. With smartphones in hand, we're having a hard time dropping our workload when 5 p.m. rolls around. Even after an 8-hour day, many employees report checking emails and taking work-related calls after hour. Having constant access to mobile communication adds an extra 2 hours of work in the average person's day. So there's story number 2.
You're way above average.
I know that. And then
It's
story number
ridiculous.
3, you tell me if you think these are connected. Performance-boosting drugs, powered prostheses, and wearable computers are coming to an office near you, but experts are warning in a new report that too little thought has been given to the implications of a superhuman workplace. So they're saying they've got all of these like performance-boosting drugs where you can take this thing and just like, I'm going to work through lunch, I'm going to work through dinner, I'm going to work through the night, I'm going to keep working. It could be bad. And then powered prosthesis, however you say that, prosthetics that are powered,
Sure.
where you'd be able to utilize your hands to move like more powerful hands to do things. And then wearable computers where you could actually, instead of, I don't need to be in the office anymore, I'm going to just wear this thing everywhere I go. So I think the slouching comes from using these computers, the technology. So that's why the slouches or the grouches. We're using these computers after hours, so we're getting more work in and less personal time. And I think that's why people are getting more angry. And the workplace is saying, hey, we don't want them slouching, so let's just build this computer right into their brain. I think those things are all three tied together, and it's a little concerning to me. So if they come to us and say, hey, we'd like to just build this microphone right into you and strap this computer onto your head, that's about the time I'm going to say, well, the John and Heidi Show is done. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because nobody wants to know what's going on inside of my head. Just the stuff that falls out of my mouth is bad enough.
The stuff that's going on in my head can't go on the radio.
I know.
So.
We would get fined over and over and over. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're in business, you need a website. Come on, it's 2016. Do you think this internet thing is not going to catch on? Many business owners that don't have a website think it's just too expensive. Well, now it's not. You can get a website for a few $100s, not thousands of dollars that are charged elsewhere. We can help you set up and design the site and then turn you loose to manage it, or we can help you manage the site for just a tiny bit more. Learn about this special radio offer right now at radiosavings.com. Get an extra $50 off if you sign up this month at radiosavings.com.
If you need some inspiration, or maybe you're just trying to figure out how to solve a problem, you're supposed to lay on your back. Darren Lipnicki from the School of Psychology at the Australian National University found that people solve anagrams twice as fast when they're laying on their back than when they're standing on their feet. He suggests that laying down may actually help you be more creative and help stir up the creative process. Technically, it may have something to do with the brain's chemical noradrenaline, or noradrenaline, whatever that is. I don't know. Something in your brain. The chemical is associated with cognitive ability and attention, but it is believed to impair creative thinking, and less of it is released when you're laying down. So if you're standing up, it's secreting this chemical that stops you from being creative, but while you lay down, that doesn't happen. So, interesting. I never really thought of that before. That's why I always have such creative ideas when we lay down. And you're always saying, I don't think so. Not at all. She's my wife, by the way, just so you know that. Coming up, we're going to do a little more chatting about the Olympics. We had a fascinating guest earlier in the program, and we're going to talk more about Rio Olympics coming up in a bit.
John and Heidi.
When I was talking with Simon earlier about the Olympics, I first of all have to admit I'm not a big Olympic guy. I'm not into sports of any kind, so it's not just the Olympics, but I'm really not into that. But He fascinated me so much that I did a little research here, and it didn't have to go far because it was in my email. Wallet Hub sent this to me. Imagine that. We haven't read any of their stuff in a while. I've deleted most of it because it's been so weird lately. But they have, since the Olympics are starting today, they have sent out this Rio Olympics 2016 by the numbers report. $11.5 billion. That is the cost of hosting the Rio Olympic Games. That's a lot of money. 85,000. That's the number of security personnel. That's more than twice that they had in London in 2012, by the way. So they doubled the number this year, more than doubled the number of people for security in Rio.
Well, I think Brazil is really high.
They're having some
in
problems.
Crime, anyway.
26,000. That's the cases of Zika that were reported in Rio in the first 3 months of this year. That's not good. 32 tons. That's the number. That's the amount of weight of dead fish that had to be removed from the rowing and canoeing lagoons before the water-based activities.
I saw some of that. That's disgusting.
32 tons of dead fish. 16 years. The age of the youngest member of Team USA, that's gymnast Lori Hernandez and hurdler Sydney McLaughlin, both from New Jersey, both 16 years young. I've got a link, by the way, if you want to read more of the Olympics by the numbers. I just thought that was kind of fascinating. Also fascinating, a video that my wife shared with me the other day, and I had to share it on our page. The trouble they had getting the Olympic torch this year. Does this happen every 4 years and we just didn't know it?
It's just so funny.
She was laughing, and you've heard my wife laugh before. She's got this awesome laugh over here. So she was laughing, and it's contagious, and I'm laughing, not even know what she's laughing about. I'm like, what are we laughing about? What's so funny? She's like, you got to see this. Wiping tears away. And we watched as people, for no particular reason, some of them just fell down while they're running with the torch.
The one guy got hit by a cop
Yeah, then the police car was following them, and a police car knocked the guy over. And there's others where people from the crowd came jumping out with
fire extinguishers,
trying to put out the torch. I'm like, what is going on? But they had quite the trouble getting the Olympic torch to Rio, and it all kicks off tonight. And again, I'll have a video at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Whether you're following the election or not, you understand that it impacts you. And this will be a historic election. The mainstream media has their own spin on who's going to win, but PoliticalStorm.com lets you chime in. You can keep yelling at the TV if you want. See how that works out. Or truly voice your opinion and have it heard at PoliticalStorm.com. Be informed from several different sources all in one place. Watch videos, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials to engage your brain. You have a choice, and now you have a voice too at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. If you need a little downtime, trying to find something to just cheer you up, how about you turn to the Bear Cam? Yeah, Season 4 of Bear Cam is underway. Have you been on the Bear Cam, Heidi?
Never. I don't even know what we're talking about. You can just watch these bears? Why?
Bear Cam features footage of hundreds of bears from Alaska at the Katmai National Park, doing everything from raising their cubs to fishing for salmon to fighting for dominance. Total of 4 cameras available on the website. National Park Service has 1 camera at Brooks Falls, where throughout July is where they have these things set up. You can spot as many as 25 bears fishing in the falls, and the dominant male bears competing against each other for prime fishing spots. So it's kind of like Bear Olympics, really. It's kind of what it's like. But you can go on and watch these videos. They record this stuff, and then you can watch the Bear Cam videos. So
I did see a cute video online the other day of like a firefighter who had saved this little bear cub from the woods, from a fire in the woods, and this bear cub would not let him go. He was like hugging his leg, and the firefighter would like take him off and push him away, and the bear cub would come chasing after him again and was hugging him. It was so cute.
That is really cool. Well, coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I've got this. I think this is good news, and I don't have a link to throw on our Facebook page, but we have so many other things on there today anyway, you don't need it. You can even watch the Bear Cam on there. I mean, you've got a ton of stuff. But forget fancy diets. A recent study says, if you want to lose weight, eat a lot of tomatoes.
I like tomatoes.
Bad news for me, I don't like tomatoes. The juicy fruit is thought to be rich in compounds that take away hunger pains and suppress the urge to snack. I'm going to pause right there. For those of you who thought that tomatoes were a vegetable, sadly you were wrong. Although you don't think of a tomato as a fruit.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like fruit.
It is a fruit. So this juicy tomato fruit is rich in all kinds of good things. One of which these British researchers say could be the magical ingredient that suppresses the appetite. And it also is the thing that gives it the red color. It's a thing called lycopene. Mm-hmm. So they're saying lycopene gives them the red color, and it also helps make you not hungry. So that is why when I'm done eating a whole bunch of fries with ketchup, I'm no longer hungry.
Right.
Has to be the lycopene.
It's the lycopene.
I'm going to just blame it on the lycopene. Okay, maybe you have to eat fresh fruit for that, but you probably can't have ketchup. But I do remember on one of the Heinz bottles that we had, it said something about lycopene right on the bottle. I'm like, really? You guys are trying to see how healthy your ketchup is? But what
It's also loaded with sugar and salt. But
and you got to think, what are you putting it on? It's usually not something healthy. Where's my tofu snack again? I'm going to put some ketchup on it. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.